Hey YouTube, Gearsu here. Today for you guys, I'm going to be showing you my Shaddoll Dogmatika deck profile. This is kind of a budget build. I don't want to necessarily say budget, it's just there's certain cards in here that I don't prefer to pay a lot of money for at the moment. So, when we get to certain cards that I have in place of other cards that I don't have yet, I'll definitely give you guys the what I would play in place of this card kind of thing. And if you have the card, feel free to play it in this spot, and I would recommend it if you have the card. But anyways, let's get into it, guys. So, as I said, this is Shaddoll, so your best and only normal summon is going to be Mathematician. Basically, this guy's been in so many different decks over the years. He was actually, I don't remember if he was limited or semi-limited, but I know he was on some form of the ban list at some time because of his generic. When he's normal summoned, you can just send any level 4 or lower monster from your deck to the graveyard, and then if he's destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you get to draw a card. So there's instances where you can normal summon him, and you could send basically anything from your deck to the graveyard, including the higher level monsters that are higher than level 4. And I'll actually show you how, or explain to you how, when we get to it. I'm sure you guys already know Shaddoll. The deck's been around for a while, but yeah, so basically this lets you do anything. This is your normal summon. I know a lot of people play the Invoked Engine, so Alistair would probably replace this card. If you want to play the Invoked Engine, I would recommend cutting these because you're not going to want to open 2 normal summons. But I just think that the Invoked Engine, it's just not for me. It takes up a lot of space in the extra deck, and if you want honesty, I honestly hate the Invoked. I don't like those cards at all. There's nothing against them, personally. I just don't like them, it's not my play style of, but yeah, it's really good. It's not bad. It's actually probably better than playing triple math, but anyways, not for the Shaddolls. The best doll, I guess nowadays, you could say, in the main deck is Wendy. You don't need to play 3 of this card. You really honestly don't want to open the Shaddolls. They're all bricks, every single one of them. Not a single one of them is something you want to see in your hand. You want them in the deck, or sent to the graveyard as fusion material, or whatever. You just don't want to open them. So anyways, you play double Wendy basically when she's sent to the graveyard by a card effect, which is the effect you're going to be doing. You can special summon a Shaddoll from your deck in face up, or I'm sorry, in face down defense position, and if you manage to flip her face up, you can special it from your deck in face up or face down. So, but yeah, as I said, you're not going to be flipping any of your Shaddolls. I mean, you can. There's actually a combo that you can summon any Shaddoll from the deck and get its flip effect, but as I said, you try and avoid stuff like that because it's not really worth it. It takes a long time. And then double Squamata. This card will probably actually be cut down to 1 pretty soon. Again, you don't really even need this card anymore. Construct's at 3. This does what Construct does. If it's sent to the grave by a card effect, you can send a Shaddoll card from your deck to the graveyard. But yeah, you really don't want to do that too much, because after a certain point in the duel, you don't actually need to send Shaddoll cards from your deck to the graveyard. If you're playing properly, all of them should be in the graveyard by turn 2 or 3 of yours. So, and for the rest of the Shaddolls, I guess these are all kind of just like the one-of techs, really. Probably should have put my camera a little farther away, but yeah, basically these are the techs. They all kind of do different things. If you want, like I said, to cut down on more space, as I said, you can cut Shaddoll, Squamata, down to 1, and then you can maybe cut the Hedgehog. I don't think you can cut any of these 3 cards, but that would make maybe for the 2 Meltdown, and then the 3 Mathematician if you wanted to play Alistair. So that's that, and then there's another card in here that you could probably cut for the other Meltdown, and then the Invos and stuff, but yeah, so those are the 4. I mean, if you don't know what they do, I guess I'll just explain them really quick. Basically, Beast, if it's flipped, you draw 2, discard 1. It's really good to summon off of Wendy. And then you got Ariel. If it's sent to the grave by a card effect, you can banish 3 from either grave. Pretty good. This pops a spell or trap, and this is your searcher for monsters. Their flip effects, you can feel free to read them all on your own. As I said, you're not going to be resolving their flip effects. Like maybe one of them you'll resolve per duel, but anyways. So for the Dogmatika cards, You're gonna play triple Ecclesia. You want to see the Dogmatika cards basically like as soon as humanly possible. They're really good. I mean, I see people playing like one of this card because you can add it from the grave or some shit like that with Nadir Servant. I definitely don't agree with that. If you really wanted to make down for as much space as possible and you were playing the Invoked Engine, I would play 2 of this card. So that's probably your third meltdown. So now you just need to make 2 more spaces in your deck for whatever. But yeah, I liked opening this card. It's really good. So I play 3. You'll also see why I play 3 in a minute too. And then for the rest of the dogs, you literally just play the 2 bricks. I mean, they're really good, but they are bricky as fuck, especially Fleur. This card is actually not bricky because he can summon himself a lot easier, in my opinion, than Fleur can. I mean, you don't want to summon Fleur unless you're negating something, so there's no point in just summoning the body on the field if you want honesty. But Maximus is a lot easier to summon. And yeah, if you don't know what he does, he dumps 2 from your extra deck, because not a lot of people play this card. The other Dogmatic cards, everyone knows what they do. So, but yeah, this card is really good because nobody's playing the targets for Maximus to get the Mechaba. So, and then for my techs, I just play 1 alpha and 1 Pankratops. You could play any variation of these you want. You could play double alpha, or well, you can't play double pank, but so basically if you open these cards going second, which is kind of what you want to do, if you're facing certain decks, if you're facing like combo or like a trap deck or something like that, you probably are just going to want to go first game 2 and 3. But game 1, you more or less are going to let your opponent go first because you want them to build a board. You want them to build extra deck monsters on the field, because a lot of your cards are based off of them having extra deck monsters. So obviously everyone knows what Pank does. In an alpha, you can just target any number of beasts, Beast Warrior, Wing Beasts, bounce them to the hand, not as cost. You just target them for cost. You bounce them to the hand, and then non-targeting remove monsters on your opponent's field back to the hand. So it's your one Outer Dragoon. Like I said, everyone knows what Pank does. So for the hand traps, you just play Gammas. This can be anything, really. I mean, I would recommend if it's going to be anything, you probably just play light targets or increase your light targets, because this deck can, late game, struggle getting lights, and if you use the first Gamma, the other 2 are probably going to be dead. Yeah, so there's still light targets. This is just the best one because it's you have so many spells in the deck. Shaddoll Fusion, Nadir Servant, a lot of spells. I mean, if you're playing the Invoked Engine, Magical Meltdown, that basically just, you don't have any monsters on the field, you activate them, so yeah. Negates and destroys too, so a little bit better than Ash, but Ash is more generic, and then, you know, this fucking guy. So anyways, that's it for the monsters. So for the spells, the best doll spell to this day, forever of all time, definitely Shaddoll Fusion. Card's a double Foolish Burial going second if your resolves, and you know, it's if your opponent chose an extra deck monster, you fuse from the deck, basically. So yeah, really good. Then you can choose so many different effects. You can chain block once you summon your fusion monster. You chain block with the 2 monsters you sent, and it's the possibilities are endless, I guess. And then just the 1L, you know, you just play it because sometimes you want a second fusion summon per turn, and you know, can't all the doll spells are once per turn. So triple super poly, see a Dragoon, you know, see a Dark Dex. This can be replaced. To be honest, I don't know what you would replace it with because nothing really does what this card does. You know, and even if you're not using 2 monsters your opponent controls, you can play cards like Shekanaga for the Zodiac matchups. You can play cards like Grista for, you know, fire decks. You can play the water for water decks. You know, obviously Construct and Winda are for dark and light. But yeah, this card is kind of nuts. The fact that you wouldn't play it if they could respond to it, basically. The only reason you play it, this card is so busted, is just because your opponent can't respond to it. So, I mean, if it wasn't, you know, it would be good, but no one would play it anymore, really. It's because you can't respond to it that it's so good. So, double Cosmic Cyclone. This is kind of flex spots. I would keep back row removal in the main deck, because as I said, you really do want to go second with this deck to resolve most of your cards, and you want that extra card too because, as I said, all your dolls are bricks. If you don't open a fusion spell, they're extra bricks. So, yeah, double Cosmic. This could be one Harpy's Feather Duster and Cosmic. This probably would be what I would do eventually. Or maybe even Lightning Storms. If you have Lightning, I would run double Lightning Storm. I would not maybe 1-3. I mean, you could probably if you had 3 and you really felt like you wanted to open it, but if you're going second, which you want to, you're going to get that extra card, so consistency is kind of boosted a little bit. So definitely main deck spell and trap removal. You don't want to lose to Mystic Mine, and you don't want to lose to back row. So, and next up, you got triple spell Book of Knowledge. Now this is what I would cut if I had Nadir Servant. It's gone down in price like significantly. I think it's like $60 now. But yeah, I'm not paying $200 with shipping and taxes and everything for 3 cards. I got bills to pay. So unfortunately, this card is not a replacement for it. It's just kind of like a ghetto. I don't want to say ghetto, offend some people or whatever, but kind of like a trash version of a power spell. It's Pot of Greed, and if you send like a Squamata or if you send what's the other one, Hedgehog, you get like a super plus because you can Foolish and add, or Foolish and draw, or add and draw. So yeah, this would 100% be Nadir Servant at 3, no doubt. So if you have it, play it. You can still play that card if you find room for it, but I wouldn't. Last spell, Instant Fusion. This is actually not even for anything relevant. I kind of just stuck a few cards in here that work in the deck that once I get the cards that I want, I will take out. And this literally just summons a Winda. It's like a free extender. I don't play Millennium Eyes or Thousand Eyes or anything because the extra deck space is like dumb tight. But yeah, you could use this summon Winda and then normal something, link off into like Cross Sheep or something. But that will be coming out, and it will be coming out with the, let's see if I can find it really quick. That will come out with, for me at least, 1 Squamata and probably, I'd have to say, 1 Ecclesia, once I get the Nadir Servants and shit, but so yeah, this is what you replace if you wanted to. You could play these cards, really, it doesn't matter. But these will be replaced with Nadir, or not Nadir Servant, Triple Tactics. I don't have that card either. Again, it's like fucking $300 for a playset, and again, I've got bills to pay, so. But they still work good, you don't have to play the best cards to be the best. So, but yeah, that's it for the monsters and the spells. Let's get on to the traps. So for the 3 doll traps, basically you play, obviously this is the best one, but these 2 are kind of techs for me. I love core. I mean, with Apkalone and Construct, sending this card and then using its effect, it's the same effect as the fusions. When it's sent to grave, you add a spell or trap. So this is really good with cards like Apkalone, because if you really don't want to neg too hard on her effect and you already have this card or something like that, and you have, Foolished it, or one of these are in the grave, or your spells are in the grave, you can literally off Apkalone just add this to your hand and discard it, and then use it to add another card, except itself, back to your hand. So you're actually plussing off Apkalone. So I really like this card and setting it, and using it as a bluff, and then your opponent hits it with Twin, or Lightning Storm, or I guess not Cosmic, and you get a plus off it. Or you could just summon it, and then if you don't have a doll, and then use it to fusion summon. So it's still a Shaddoll monster. And then Rush is, I was playing 2 Rush instead of this, but I cut it out for just text, basically. But yeah, I think these are fine as they are. I wouldn't play any more or any less. You really don't want to open them, you want to search them, as most cards in the deck. Sorry about that. I had to turn the light on in my room. I couldn't really tell if it was bright enough or not. But anyways, yeah, and then you got the one punishment. This card is ass. I don't really like it, honestly. Kind of conflicts super hard with the play style of the deck. It's really good in decks that don't use the extra deck too much, but yeah, the fact that you can't summon till the end of your next turn with this card is brutal. But it's kind of like a last ditch effort. Like if you search it off Ecclesia, if you have Maximus already, it's really good to set it. But as I said, if you're gonna set it, you need to be smart with how you use this card. Because not summoning from the extra deck, you don't do anything in this deck if you're not fusion summoning or linking. So yeah, one of that. You can play as many as you want, but last card in the deck is Triple Judgment. This is going to be Forbidden Droplet whenever it gets reprinted as a decent rarity, not a fucking ultimate rare. Yeah, and that's the shit that pisses me off. I mean, the card is $115 and you make it an ultimate rare. Like, dude, what the fuck? But anyways, yeah, these will be droplets. If you got droplets, play them. I wouldn't play Judgment, honestly, if I had droplets. So I wouldn't play Strike, though, because you really want to stop cards like spells and traps. You don't really care about monsters in this deck. As I said, you have Super Poly for that. But anyways, that's it for the main deck. For the extra deck, you got your token for whatever. Got Appaloosa and Cross Sheep and IP. These kind of are the ones you will use the most for your ending boards or for climbing. I've honestly considered cutting Masquerena, but you really need that generic link too for your fusions and stuff. But you know, and it's really good. You can make Appaloosa on your opponent's turn, and then Cross Sheep is how you make Appaloosa going first. You just fusion summon and then get the fourth body, and then use the fusion and Cross Sheep to make Appaloosa. For the last three links, the third one is kind of weird under Clock Taker, but this is gonna be access code talker. I don't have access code, but the reason you play this is because it's kind of generic and it can help you OTK. You know, it's a link too. I didn't want to really play any higher links than that because you can't really link that good in this deck. You don't get too many free bodies. This is good. You know, you can just make it and make their guy 0 or whatever, and put some serious damage in. But I guess before we go any farther, yeah, these two are the best ones, the best links, even over the Appaloosa and all that. This is literally Stratos, and this is literally a construct. So if you understand what I'm saying, you normal math, get an effect, link it into this, that's your construct because it's light. If you make your construct in the extra monster zone, foolish something, and then you link it into this, and then add what you foolish back to your hand. As I said, it's kind of like a Stratos, so you have to play them in my opinion. Kind of sucks that it's 2 spots in your extra deck, but you have to. And then it's dolls. I mean, self-explanatory. Play construct at 3, no less. Not once per turn, so 2 of this. I would honestly play 3 if I had the space, but you don't have the space. This is the best one for the for combos. And 1 of this. I would also play 2 if I had the space, but I don't. So this is your win condition most of the time against combo decks. And for the last 3, you just play these. Best Super Poly target, you have to play this and you have to play this, you know. So again, extra deck takes space is really, really tight. So, but yeah, that's it for the deck profile, guys. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and Gear Suit out.